You've likely heard debates on global forums or seen discussions in the media claiming that the world has shifted from a unipolar to a bipolar or even multipolar state. The United States, once regarded as the sole superpower, is no longer the only dominant player on the global stage. China is emerging as a formidable competitor, challenging America's influence and authority worldwide. But is this really true? Has the United States lost its once unmatched economic and military dominance? And what evidence supports these claims? Let's delve into the factors driving this narrative and explore whether America's position as the sole superpower is truly a thing of the past. For over a century, the United States has held the position of the world's dominant superpower, unmatched in both economic and military influence. During the Cold War, even the Soviet Union, America's greatest rival at the time, could not compete with the US in terms of economic or military strength. While the Soviet Union's GDP was far smaller than that of the US, the rivalry persisted, fueled by ideological and geopolitical competition. However, in recent decades, the overall economic performance of the United States has faced significant challenges. Today, the US is grappling with unprecedented levels of national debt, which has now exceeded $36 trillion. Annual interest payments on this debt have surpassed $700 billion and are projected to rise even further. To put this into perspective, the US defense budget, already the largest in the world, exceeds the combined defense budgets of 20 other countries. This staggering financial burden raises critical questions about the sustainability of America's economic and military power. As a superpower, the cost of maintaining global dominance comes with an immense price tag, especially its massive defense budget. Unfortunately, this burden is being felt by ordinary Americans. The rising costs of healthcare, education, housing, and basic services have become increasingly unaffordable for the average citizen. Even middle-class families are struggling to make ends meet in this challenging economic environment. Not too long ago, whenever a global crisis emerged or a nation required cutting-edge technology in defense, energy, or infrastructure, the United States and its allies were the go-to option for most countries. But times have changed. Today, China and Russia are stepping into the spotlight, forming new alliances and competing aggressively in economic and technological arenas. The global landscape is shifting rapidly, and nations are realigning themselves to serve their own interests in this evolving geopolitical environment. For instance, China and Russia are steadily increasing their influence in African nations by forming strong economic and political alliances. Meanwhile, back in the US, the reality of life for the average American has become increasingly difficult compared to the past. Housing prices, for example, have skyrocketed to 6 or 7 times the annual income of an average family, whereas in the 1980s, this ratio was just 2 to 3 times. Healthcare and education costs have also surged, placing a heavy burden on ordinary citizens. College tuition, for example, has grown 3 times faster than incomes over the past few decades, making higher education nearly inaccessible without accumulating significant debt. At the same time, wages have failed to keep pace with inflation, and the federal minimum wage hasn't increased in 16 years, leaving many workers struggling to cover basic expenses. In stark contrast, China has managed to significantly raise wages over the same period, improving living standards for its citizens. Over the past few decades, China has lifted 800 million people out of poverty and into the middle class. This progress stands in sharp contrast to the growing inequality in the US, where the wealthiest 1% now control approximately 40% of the nation's wealth. Additionally, while the US was once the clear leader in high-tech industries, China has caught up in key areas such as green energy, electric vehicles, and large-scale infrastructure development. China has also made remarkable advancements in AI and 5G technology, directly challenging America's dominance in these critical sectors. In conclusion, the world is undergoing a significant transformation, and global power dynamics are shifting. The United States is no longer the unrivaled superpower it once was. Emerging powers like China are challenging America's economic and military dominance, and the future may belong to a multipolar world where influence is shared among multiple nations rather than concentrated in one. What's your take on this? Is America still the sole superpower, or is it in decline? Do you believe the world is moving towards a multipolar order with shared power, or could one nation still rise to dominate? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking and informative content. Thank you.